Casey DeSmith, what a performance. 30 saves as he shuts down the Seattle Kraken in a 2-1 victory to cap off a perfect weekend for the Dallas Stars. And Miro Haskinen is reminding the league why his name belongs in the Norris Trophy conversation. And dare I say, the Stars are finding a bit of a groove.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to a Monday edition of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The Dallas Stars hang on at home against the Seattle Kraken in a 2-1 victory where Casey DeSmith put on a masterclass performance in between the pipes for the Dallas Stars. 30 saves, some miraculous stops against Marchment, the former Star, against Eli Tolvanen, you name it. Casey DeSmith came up huge in this one to cap off the perfect weekend for the Stars. We'll discuss him. Also, Miro Haskinen, who is reminding everybody who he is. Put his name in the Norris Trophy conversation. Actually, I think more importantly, he proves why the Norris is a bit of a clown award nowadays because of what number 4 can do in all facets of the game. I also want to touch on the Stars finding a bit of a rhythm and a period breakdown. Look at some of the numbers when it comes to each period for the Stars and where they have to improve at certain spots of each game upcoming. Plenty to jump into on today's episode. As always, thank you so much for the love and support. Let's talk about this Casey DeSmith performance. As I mentioned, 30 saves in the 2-1 victory for the Stars, and the Kraken were pouring it on, especially in that second period. They were leaning on Dallas. The scoring all occurred in the first period. A power play goal from the Stars. Tyler Seguin picked up his 5th of the season. Seattle opened the scoring with Jaden Schwartz just 3:15 into the hockey game. But after that, Casey DeSmith shut the door. He was perfect after that point. The Stars actually had an incredible first period. They were so connected. They were making such crisp passes. They deserved to have a lead at the end of the opening 20 minutes. They were all over Seattle. And Schwartz scored a goal against the run of play. But the Stars get on the power play. They now have a power play goal in 5 straight. Wyatt Johnston bats home his 10th goal of the season. My goodness, he is on a tear. Miro Haskinen picks up a couple of assists as well. We'll get to him, of course. But the Kraken created a lot of decent chances. 31 total, just 5 high danger, which I'm a bit surprised to see. I thought they had better looks than that. DeSmith had to make a couple of spiffy saves. He had the one save on Tolvanen getting over to his left on the power play. The Stars PK was able to hold serve this go around. They've been awful at home. We've documented that. The worst in the league. They go 3 for 3 tonight. So they win the special teams battle. And DeSmith was by far their best penalty killer. The Stars got scrambling around, and DeSmith made huge saves. He was calm in net. The stop he made on Marchment in the third period was superb as he tried to beat him 5-hole. And Marchment had himself an adventure of a game, I think, pretty typical for what we have seen from Mason Marchment in the past. But DeSmith was just phenomenal. He has either been like lights out or awful this year. There hasn't been really any in between. His last start was against Florida in Edmonton. He gave up 3 goals in that one. He wasn't awful, but that Florida game, he was swimming and he over pursued a lot. That was not the case tonight. Think back to his first start of the season against Vancouver, was not good in that one. He did pick up a win in Nashville as the Stars were struggling for a large chunk of that one, and DeSmith held him in. He made 23 saves on 25 shots in that one, and he followed it up here tonight with an excellent performance. The expected goals for Kraken were 2.8 in the game. The Stars had 3. So both teams got their looks. I thought it was a pretty even game. The Stars had the first period. Second period, it was Seattle that leaned on Dallas, had extended zone time. Second period's been a bit of an issue for Dallas. The inconsistency of their play has been an issue. And the third period, I thought was back and forth in a bit more even, and really just a pretty fun hockey game. There was looks, there was chances. Murray at the other end for Seattle was phenomenal too. He deserves some credit. Stars should have at least had 4 in the game with some of the looks they had. But this was Casey DeSmith putting on the hard hat. Both teams on the second day of a back-to-back, and you need your goaltender to show out, and he did exactly what you expect out of your backup goaltender. He has been superb for Dallas over the last season, and some change now. He has some stinkers, yes, but let's face it, Jake Ottinger has a lot of stinkers. Look at the game against Anaheim just a couple of days ago. But that's a big weekend for Dallas. That's a huge weekend. Come from behind victory against Nashville 5-4, and then come from behind tonight too to take down the Kraken 2-1. That's a massive 4 points. And for all the criticisms I have seen on the Dallas Stars, about the Dallas Stars here in the early season, whether it's Goldson and whatnot, Stars fans, zoom back 200 feet, zoom back 2,000 feet. Dallas is second in the Central Division with 21 points. They're 9-4-3. Stars are in fine shape. And I've had my fair share of worries, don't get me wrong, but I've leaned on the side of, let's see this team get healthy a bit. Let's find them a rhythm. Let's see them work through some of these issues. It's not going to be pretty every night. It's not going to be that way with all the line shuffling and juggling. Fortunately, they may have resolved some of those issues, and the last 2 games were a good positive sign of that. It's not a complete game yet. They are still working towards that, but you have to tip your cap to some of these teams. Nashville, I know they're towards the bottom of the West, but still have some good talent, and they showed it the other night. Seattle's top 3 in the Pacific. No team's a slouch, it feels like. The floor has really been raised in the NHL. The floor of some of these teams that were just god-awful for like 5 years, they're starting to improve. And I think it's going to make for games like this night in and night out. And with the Stars injuries they're having, it's going to be butt clinchers in a lot of ways. And you're going to need your goaltender to be special on some nights. And Casey DeSmith was special here tonight. And he deserves the first star of the game for Dallas. Finishes out as the best star in the game via Hockey Stat Cards, 1.80 game score. And the boys did enough in front of them. I think it says a lot about the Stars defensively too, to give up the first goal of the game. And they give up nada the rest of the way. And Seattle had their looks. But I thought Dallas did a good job of clearing out in front of DeSmith. They're not giving teams extra opportunities or slam dunks on rebounds. They are staying home. They're getting stick on stick, man on man. I think they're doing an excellent job of marking guys and not giving teams that extra bid, that extra chance, the second opportunity. And it's shown here tonight. And I think it's shown rather recently in a lot of ways. The Stars' defensive game is starting to take shape. And I thought tonight, that first period especially, you saw what Goldson has been looking for, that instinctual hockey. Like, they're just buzzing around. They're flying tape-to-tape passes, holding on to pucks, working it on net, flying around, winning those battles, winning the 50-50 pucks, defending off the rush really extremely well. The transition game has really found itself over the last couple of games too. That's been a big turnaround. I think they are starting to move the puck up more, right? Like get it up the ice. I know Goldson wants them to hold on to pucks a bit more, but I think you're starting to see more of a hybrid. Like, let's stretch out the ice a bit. Let's get some wingers out in the neutral zone. Let's force the opponent to at least respect you, because we've seen early in the year teams just like would pinch in and just keep pucks alive. Over the last couple of games, we were starting to see Dallas get on their toes a bit more and not get stuck in their own zone for long stretches. But there are points in each game that occurs, and they've paid for it. But really, really solid performance tonight from a lot of cast of characters. I like the lines the Stars got rolling. Feels like they got a bit of a groove, but it's number 4 at the back end that is leading the way. Number 4, Miro Heiskanen, is proving why Norris Trophy is a bit of a clown award, I think, in a lot of ways. And hopefully he's in the conversation. He should be at this point in time. We'll discuss that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire somebody yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other sites. Indeed sponsor jobs. Put your post at the top of the page, and they help you reach the right candidates faster. Sometimes you've been in a spot where you just need to hire somebody like yesterday. The pressure's on, and every day without the right person is a setback. That's exactly why Indeed sponsor jobs can come in handy for you. They make sure your job post is seen by the right candidates with the right resume. You don't want to spend a ton of time, right? You just want to get the candidates that you know are going to be beneficial to you. So you can speed up the hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNHL right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Hey, Stars fans, and hey, Locked On Podcast Network listeners. We want to thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Yes, that was just announced last week, and a big shout out to all of you, of course. Without you, that would certainly not be the case, and appreciate all you loyal listeners of Locked On Stars that join me each and every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. I would not have the luxury of being able to do this without you, so really, really appreciate you once again, and helping our podcast network continue to grow here over the last few years, at least since I've been here. But Miro Haskinen is that guy. For those of you that were throwing around these hasty accusations about number 4 earlier this season, which I thought were a bit unwarranted. I thought the majority were unjustified. He is shoving every word back in your mouth. Miro Heiskanen is one, if not the best, total defenseman in the NHL. I'm not talking power play points, although he's picking up quite a bit of those lately. I'm not talking about his offensive skill set. I'm talking about the ability to play the position the way it was meant to be played. Miro is such a joy to watch. We are spoiled, Stars fans. We're spoiled, and when he makes a mistake here and there, we jump on him, which is justified on some accounts. But the amount of plays he makes that lead to good things is remarkable. And this last 2-week stretch, I think, is the peak Miro Heiskanen. I truly believe that. I think this is the best I have ever seen him play. And y'all know I love me some Miro. My favorite player, right? Very, very biased here. I love me some Miro. But I think this is peak defending and peak Miro. And we forget too, he's 26. This is like the beginning of his prime, so to speak, in a lot of ways. Probably started like 25. Unfortunately, got hurt last year. but he picks up another 2 assists tonight. He's got 8 points in the last 4 games. He had that 4 assist night against Anaheim. I wanted to get to that, but the Stars just kind of crapped the bed in that one, so we weren't able to talk enough positivity about Miro. But you look at what he's put together here this season, folks, and it was a slow start, don't get me wrong. But I came on this podcast and I told you, let's ease up a bit. Let's relax. And I've seen a lot of Miro's not even the best defenseman on his team. I saw that. And some of these Stars fans need to put your hand up and say you were wrong. Because I saw some of that. I did. It is clear who the number one guy is. And again, this is not to disparage anybody else, but he is on some. He is on one. He is on one lately. You look at his hockey stat card rating. He's a plus offense, plus defense. It's a plus 3 rating. Like that's really good stuff. And that's with a low start. But I feel like we do this every year. He has a couple of week stretch, and we're like, he deserves to be in the Norris conversation, and he never is by the end of the year because he maybe just doesn't pick up enough points. But he's now second in the league among defensemen in points. He's only behind Cale Makar, who has 20. And Makar, again, this is no Makar's going to be the best defenseman of his generation. That's obvious. But I've always stated, and I always say, Miro's a lot closer to Makar than he is the second tier. No one wants to kind of, I feel like, say that. But I will constantly go to bat for him. And look, on the power play, he has been lethal. I think we need to give him an apology. This is where I was saying Harley should get an opportunity. Miro has seized it. And this power play is humming, as I mentioned. He has 5 power play assists now. He's got 3 goals, and he's a part of one of the best power plays in the entire league. And maybe this is the year. That was one of my bold predictions, was he's a finalist. He probably should have been a finalist already, but we all know how it goes. This may be the year if he keeps it up. It's going to be tough. Look, we're 15, 16 games in. You look at Makar, his net rating is plus 7.2 and Miro's 3. So that just shows you the level that Makar is playing at. It's incredible. And then you go to a guy like Quinn Hughes. He's also incredible. You look at his net rating, it's only plus 0.1, so not as strong defensively. But Miro has firmly put himself in that conversation. And my God, I hope it gets rewarded, even if the points don't come like they should. At some point, we need to recognize him nationally. I think that's important. I don't think I'm crazy for saying that. Like, I can come on here and we can talk about how great he is, and everybody else in the world can talk about he's one of the best defensemen in the world. But I'm not going to feel justified until he at least sniffs the award. I think that's a fair statement. Because look, it hurts legacies. It matters, these awards, right? Like, they're big deal. And I'm not going to feel like it's justified until he gets his way into that conversation. Like, actually be given a fair chance for what he does. Look at what he did against McDavid, right? 1-on-1, 3-on-3. And again, it's like 2 shifts and 3-on-3, but he does it night in and night out. And I think it's time. I call upon all Norris Trophy voters. It's time to reflect on what you're voting on here. It's time. It's time. And yes, this is coming off what I just said was like the best 2-week stretch I think I've seen from Miro in his career. But I'm expecting bigger things. So I need it to happen. I need it to happen, Stars fans, because we're going to look back in a decade and be like, he finished top 7. 7th was the highest he ever finished. What a joke. Like, what a joke. right? So yeah, that's where I'm standing on it. But way to go, number 4. He's been awesome. He had a great night tonight. A 1.14 game score, played, a ton. Just he's doing it all. So just a big thank you to Miro and what he brings to the Dallas Stars night in and night out. Stars are finding a bit of a groove. I want to touch on that. Let's talk about the line combinations here of late. Some excellent stuff over the last couple of starts, and also where Dallas may be getting into some hairy situations in the second period and what that looks like. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. The NBA season is in full swing. And of course, it's not just the NBA. You can get in on the action with FanDuel. You can do you can do the NHL. You could do college football on Saturday, right? They got all different types of options, and it's all about looking for that great payout, right? And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Let's talk about the Norris. You look at the NHL award odds here for the Norris Trophy. Where does Miro Haskinen rank? He's not even within the top 5. He's plus 8,000. He is number 8. Why would you not just sprinkle $5 on that for what Miro has done recently? He is number 8. Can you believe that? Don't believe it. Give him some love on FanDuel. And again, FanDuel.com to sign up. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So, the last 2 games now, we've seen some really good stuff from the line combinations for head coach Glenn Goldson. They may have found some lines they can kind of work with Rope and Hintz now back in the lineup. Man, he's been flying. Oh, that Nashville game. Oh, he was shot out of a cannon, picked up a goal, and has looked Hintz-ish, right? He's looked like himself, but he's been playing with Seguin and Robertson. Sagan's been skating really well. In a back-to-back, he had some juice tonight. What a goal. I'll be honest with you, the goal he scored, Stars fans, I thought that was Mikko Rantanen for a sec with how he kind of juggled in tight and made a couple moves, and he was able to tuck it home. And then I'm like, that's 91. That was vintage stuff from some Seguin, who now has 5 goals on the year, and has just been a nice Swiss Army piece for Goldson. But he's looked real good down the middle with Robo and Hintz. Robo, man, his two-way game is really good. A couple of plays he makes just stripping guys of pucks, but we know 53-96, a great duo. They feel like they have to stick together. Steele on that line has looked good. It's 7 scoring chances tonight, 7 shots for the Johnston and Seguin line tonight. Ritzkovi and Bork and Beck, talk about the depth the other night against Nashville. Just energy shift. Ritzkovian is growing before our eyes. The confidence for Ritzy is something to be like. He doesn't seem at all nervous about the moment, right? It's not too big for him, and he is flying around. He's relentless, and him with Beck and Bork. Wow, that's not a line I thought would be as effective as it has been. But it has been excellent over the last, couple of nights. They were phenomenal, and Foxa, Blackwell, Ernie's, scored the big time goal the other night when the Stars cashed in twice. Blackwell, he's had some juice and legs. You're seeing, I think, some of these veteran guys that maybe got off to bit of a slow start. I think they're starting to find their legs. You're starting to find a bit of a rhythm, and everything seems to be falling in place. And as of now, it feels like they have some lines they can kind of go to and maybe get a bit more consistent there. And that may help the consistency in their play when they're not constantly maybe loading up the top line, loading up the top six, moving guys kind of here and there. I think it's going to help their overall game. Now, you look at their period breakdowns, and they mentioned this on Victory Plus about the second period being a bit of a bugaboo. So I went and looked at it. So the Stars are being outscored 19-15 in the second period. It's a negative goal differential, and they're not negative in the first or the third. It's their worst period. They're being outshot 141-47, so it's pretty even, but they're being outshot in every period. Their 5-on-5 has certainly lacked at points, although you're starting to see that come along a bit more here over the last week or so. But for whatever reason, that second period has been a bit of a bugaboo for them, and that long change. I think some of it is their transition game has not been great to start the season. They have been caught up the ice a lot. I think we saw that against Anaheim. Anaheim scored 4 second period goals, and the genesis of a lot of it was turnovers. Also mixing in a wrong change and teams countering with their speed. And Dallas has suffered because of that. They and also with the long change, there's been points where that second period, it feels like almost every night there's that long 1.5, 2 minute shift where they spend a lot of time in their own zone. They can't get a change. There was one tonight where Miro was desperate to get off, and Dallas just could not tilt the ice. They would get it to, the red line, or they give it away, and it would be played back in. And Miro was out there, I think, 2.5 minutes. They just could not get off. But something to kind of keep an eye on. They were outshot 15-17 in the second period tonight. I'm curious what it was against Nashville, since we know it wasn't the best period. They were outshot. Actually, they outshot Nashville 9-7, so there's a bit wrong there. But they were outscored 2-1, and so who knows? Some of it may be the faceoffs too. They were 54% against Nashville, or Nashville's 54%. That actually probably is a large part of it because of the long change. If you can't win faceoffs, then you can't change. That's a huge factor. They went 67% tonight. They were 31-46, but they still were outshot 15-7. They had 19 giveaways. That's been a number that's just been too high. I'd be curious to see the breakdown of giveaways by period too. If I think they track that somewhere. If I go to the full event summary, I'm interested to see if they have that anywhere, because I bet it would show that maybe is some of their issues. But their mission, Duchesne still Ben's a good face-off guy, right? Like once they get some of that back, it'll really help. They don't have the giveaway breakdown, unfortunately, by periods. I thought maybe they would. I'm trying to think. Maybe if I go to individual stats, I don't think I'll be able to find it. Either way, you get the point. But that has been sort of it's -4 goal differential. So they have some work to do in that second period. They have, I feel like I'd like to say I think the Stars have kind of got that slow start crap out of their system. Although the last couple games, when they're playing well, they get scored on. It's like, look at tonight. It's like they're all over them, and then boom, it's a back of their net. It's like, okay. Sometimes it's mind-boggling, but they are coming out better. I don't think there's the kind of slow walking their way into games. They've sort of rectified some of that, which is good. And I think some of that is that those lines like Ritscovian, the bottom six, I've loved what they bring. Like they're hard, they're physical, they work along the walls. Man, that's great stuff. Like Beck, Ritscovian, Blackwell, Bork, all of them deserve a lot of credit. Faksa, for for what they have done the last couple nights. And they chipped in offensively, right? Like those are two depth goals to get you a win in Nashville. And the big boys helped out tonight, and then DeSmith closed it down. What a weekend. Stars go 2-0. Are second in the Central Division. Can you believe it? It's very tight, of course. So still very, very early. And the Stars will be back in action on Tuesday. A little Canada road trip, Ottawa and Montreal. So going to the nation's capital and then Quebec City before they come back home. But that's going to do it for this Monday edition of Locked On Stars. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Y'all are amazing. Thank you for liking, subscribing, which I know you've already done. But if you haven't, please do. We'd appreciate it. Hit the notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. Have a great rest of your day, Stars fans, and we'll see you tomorrow. So long.